Hey everyone, you know who the fuck this is. If you're watching this, let me just drop that down real quick. I'm doing this is kind of like an impromptu stream, and I'll put the links at the Discord real quick. Basically, the signal mod is almost done. I still have to write up some stuff for the diagram, but basically I was going to release this signal mod with Oakville and West Somerset and Sandpatch at the same time. West Somerset signaling, even though there's less signals, is very nightmarish, and trying to figure out what signals what is way more of a pain in the butt than even Sandpatch or Oakville, if you can believe that. Specifically, some of the yards in the middle of the route have like 12 to 20 signals, and they're complete. There's one right in the middle of the route that has like 20 signals, and they're all nightmarish. I'm gonna go and post these. Let me just post these real quick, and then we'll get started. Alright, and it says I got 3 people already on. Egg, and I'm a senior this year. Hey, congrats, man. You're 1 year away from graduating, and then you start the real world, which is not as glamorous as one would think. Alright, so in this I have everything set up. I've got my UUU, my Universal Unreal Engine 4 Unlocker, which is version 3.0.2, which, because the previous version wasn't working with TSW2. And we're going to be using a very common scenario that, and I know some people groan about, but it works for this, is we're going to use, as much as I could use the 4400 and show off the sound mod, I don't want to have to spend the time of getting it onto the turntable and doing all that, so I'm going to I've got other stuff that I'm going to be doing today, so this is probably, I might even get through the whole thing today. But basically, I'm going to showcase a bunch of the signals that actually do need to, you know, kind of give you a gist, because I do have the list up next to me, and I believe, if I can look at it really quick, let's see, 145 subtracted by 2. There's 143 signals across Sandpatch Grade. Headlights on, brakes cut in the air, which I should have done first. Headlight or ditch lights on because we are moving in this case. Step lights are active. Number boards because it's the evening. Wait, why the hell is it the evening? Oh, because it's 6 a.m. We got Camo Guy 54321's sound mod. I'm going to disable the lag, which is... I also want to let you guys know you will not be seeing a 30 FPS frame rate. That's because I have my second monitor up so I can view the chat. When TSW is in that configuration or using OBS, it just screws things up. So you want a smooth frame rate, this is just how I test things. When I test things, I'm not streaming. When I show things that I am testing, they're going to be laggy. And quite frankly, I don't really care what anyone wants in this regard. Lead or dead. So the first set of signals that we are heading off to is Control Point Mexico. Because I know that this is a spot, and I've made a whole thing about this in the guide, and I've labeled every single signal that's down here. But I'm going to be showcasing basically every signal that you will be encountering and kind of how to get through receiving if you want to do like an actual hump and trim job with Cumberland switchback. Also, all the freight you will be, I want to warn this because in case Dovetail wants to watch this, man, my man really out here expect to sell 30 FPS on TSW. Oh, shut up, Lex. And there is the freight cars that Dovetail listened to my criticism about and added at both the car shop and in the bowl. And I do have to say, despite any complaints I've had about TSW in the past, thank you for listening to me Dovetail about Cumberland Switchback and fixing the starting time and adding more freight cars. That's more than I could ask for. Also, this has got the YN3 logo from the Northeast Corridor. I've added that mod is out on Discord. It should, if I can remember to do it, should be out today or tomorrow on trainsimcommunity.com under the TSW2 Legacy Reskins category. Just look under North American Locomotives and it should be there. Even though it's not a full locomotive reskin, but it does bring back, basically it replaces the YN3B. I'm trying to make it so that the YN3 is its own locomotive by doing a whole bunch of hex editing and hacking the game to bits, but we're not dealing with that. So what we're going to be doing here, and I can tell exactly where I'm lying by the fact that there's no, oh yeah, there's stuff in the receiving yard too, which means they extended the play area. Because normally right around this corner it would say, please stay within Cumberland Terminal. I don't think it says that anymore. I've been doing so much of worrying about porting over my mods that, let's take a look. Oh yeah, it gives me the objective marker back there. Oh, you need to turn back now. No. My man Dovetail here really being like, oh, you're gonna work the hump job. I feel like it's gonna try and do that thing of please stay within the designated area. Alright, so I don't have the signal flare mod enabled, I don't think. I can faintly hear it. It's coming from the Jeeps, but I faintly hear a sound that I'm pretty sure only the AC4400 MTA M7's when. Someone requested I do that at one point, and I was thinking, oh, I can do that, and then I remembered that I don't want to touch Long Island Railroad again, because I just don't like running it. Okay. Oh, that's right, I forgot the locomotive brake actually takes time to, oh, Jesus. Go into emergency. It's that signal right there, which I do seem to remember actually what it's called. Why the hell are you not stopping? Jesus, the wheel slip is brutal. If an engineer had to deal with that in real life, is it just a case of repacking them to go from TSW 1 to 2? Yes. With the exception of sound mods, which require a little bit more tweaking, especially with Sandpatch. But yeah. Did you hear about Train Simulator 2021 got released? As far as I know, it hasn't. Unless it was today. Yeah, basically, to repack them, you just need to grab Unreal Editor 4.23.1, and then just port over your mods from 4.16.3 to that, and just re-release them. That's really all I had to do. With the exception of sound mods like horns and the AC4400 mod from Nexo, I actually had to do some sound compiling and mixing up stuff so that this, because the way the sound system is designed is a little bit different now. So basically you're going to be sitting here thinking, okay, well what the hell, you've brought us over for this live stream, you've baited us, and you're sitting here with a bunch of red signals. You're just going to do the stupid SPAD glitch again. That's where, if you've been watching my videos for the past several months, you'd be wrong. Simply put, all these signals have an ID tied to them, and these IDs are accurate to the official CSX timetable from around 2004 for the Keystone subdivision. So for this one right here, I'm going to double check on my listing. It should be a 17 milepost 173.6. If I'm looking at this, looks like that would be southbound. Oh, this would be PPG branch. Southbound lead, okay, 1737-5. So let's give him a try. So we're going to pull up the console enabler. We're going to set up a route. So in this case, we're going to do 1737-5, and we're going to use route 0. There we go. So what this does is every signal has a specific number of routes assigned to it. So for example, in this case, it throws this switch, it gives us this switch, and then it lines us out to the main line. I want to be real careful because if I go near that bridge, it's going to kick me out. And this lines us right to the main line. So then I'm going to do, let's say, route 1. Now for some reason, it's kind of asinine, but it lets you do it. You would go from here, and you'd fly, and you would end up going down this line and then back over. You're thinking, oh, okay, well, that's kind of useless. So then we do something called Route 2. This switch would throw, and now you have access to the, and I'll show it on the map right here, what is called the PPG branch line, which isn't really used much anymore according to Google Maps. This is the propane gas branch line, which actually has some industries that were kind of up here. You can't access this normally without a SPAD glitch, and kind of flying. Basically, if you wanted to do this in regular TSW, you would fly around where my mouse is here and kind of fly into this area around while your train is passing under the bridge, because the game considers you out of bounds. And because of that, it won't kick you out when your train passes through the kill barrier, and then you can just drive into here and do local work. I did a stream of that about a year and like 2-3 months ago. So what I'm going to show is kind of just how you're going to navigate some of these obstacles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run. It's going to be a bit risky, but as you can see, I do have a, well, it says clear, but it's really restricting signal. And now it's going to say that I have a signal. It's going to say I have a red signal in a mile. Really, that just means I'm going to hit this end of the line here. I assume that little orange dot actually is where the signal would be, but I can't tell. I don't think there actually is a signal in that spot, though. Let's see. I'm going to turn the ditch lights off because I don't like the way the ditch lights are implemented on here. So let's just say we want to go to the signal down there. Now the signal that I'm heading towards is actually really important because it has, if I remember correctly, 20 different routes set for it. From that little dwarf signal that I'm moving to, you can go to basically every single track behind me, routing all of those different switches. This is a massive deal. Now, I know most people won't go down this branch, but if you want to take freight cars down here, and another way to get around the kill barrier is to use this toggle debug camera. As long as you're in toggle debug camera, you can blow a red signal, you can even derail the train, and as long as you're in the camera until that text fades out, the game can't kick you out. So in this case, we're just going to use, and I know that this particular signal is milepost 173.3, and it's on track 3. So the ID of this signal is actually 1733-3. So we're going to bring him up, and we're going to use, I'm pretty sure the routing was 5. Let's give a check from him. Okay, I have a routing for red and lined there, and that lines me back into Cumberland. So we don't want that. We want a routing of, I think it was routing 0 or routing 1. Let's try route 0. There we go. So now we've got that restricting, and that lines us back to here. But really, I think what we wanted was routing 1. No, I think it was 3. 4? Okay, does that align us correctly? Basically every single time. The other thing is I'll show this right now. Let's do 3. Okay, 3. And that lines us into here, which is where we want to go. 3 to here, to here, to, it lines us there. But we're not really going to mess with that much. So we're going to give ourselves a farther lining that should let us out onto the main line, which I think would be, let's try 15. I'm a little bit rusty with this because this particular command, that's 15. I want to try, was it 19? There we go. That gets us access to the main line. And I'll show this right now just because I can. These switches motors do actually have sound. Certain routes don't have, like East Coastway doesn't have one. So you can faintly hear it. Routes like Long Island Railroad, I think Main Spessart-Bonn, and I think 2 other routes on Peninsula Corridor. Some of these routes don't have switch motor noises. Why? I have no idea. But Oakville has them, Sandpatch Grade, Northeast Corridor, Great Western Express. I don't know about Rersig Nord. I think so. Right, let's give this a shot. And you'll hear that. So what we've done now is we've actually given ourselves access to the main line. And I'll show this really quick because it is not so useful unless you're really wanting to be like a goofball and really mess around with this, but I'll showcase this. Everyone here that's played train simulators for the past 3 years understands that there are portals, basically where the AI spawns. So this is the one at what would technically be on the map, something called North Branch. And these have their own little IDs written. And basically anything that has an ID written on itself is literally, you can tell exactly what it is. I mostly cover in my signal guide the signals that don't have a label, so you know what to type in. But like, for example, say we want to enter the portal. We want to enter into the abyss on the rightmost track. We're going to do portal M3. I don't really know why it's called. Oh, portal main 3, I guess. What the fuck? We're going to use route 0. There you go. Now you have an illuminated signal, and the same thing would be like if I wanted to do PM2. There you go. You have access to the portals, and the same principle would be if I wanted to do, you know, PM0 or PM1. And you can have all the signals illuminated if you really wanted to. So I'm going to fly back here, and what we're going to do is treat this normally. So I'm going to tie down the train the way I actually normally would, and we're going to swap power. Handle off. Well, actually, put it in handle off. Come on, drop to 0. Cut out. Trail 626. Reverser gets taken out. Gen field down. Headlight dim. Gauge lights off. Swap cabs. Reverser in. Gen field on. Gauge lights on. Freight brake cut in. Lead or deed, as I call it. Headlights on full running. Ditch lights on. 2 blasts of the horn. Alright, let's go. And you'll see it acts just like any other signal. You will never see that signal used in any scenario by Dovetail or service mode. Some of these signals will be accessed because there is a couple trains that come from that portal just south of me and actually will pull into this receiving yard for some of the yard jobs. And I haven't figured out what their timing is yet. I really have to spend like a whole week with service mode to really figure it out. But now we're going to start doing running. And you'll start seeing usage of some signals that Dovetail is now using, but wasn't really using before. I gotta make sure my chat wasn't up, apparently. Yo, the TSW 2021 show is shown on Twitter. If I could put a link in the chat here. Yeah, sure, send it over. People were talking about it the other day. I do know that there was, by the way, for anyone who hasn't fired up TSW yet, because, you know, Because of, I have no idea. Because shoes. Basically, TSW2 had the first update today, which fixes some stuff. It doesn't add a lot. Gotta look through some of these. There we go. Oh, there it is. I see it. It was linked on my... Featuring the new Steam Workshop functionality, a brand new round... Hold on, wait. New Steam Workshop functionality for Train Sim 2021. What? What new functionality? Okay, so you'll see that we're coming up to, actually, I need to make sure that this livery goes live soon. Not that one, this one. I'm going to tool it up a little bit more, then that Tillex livery will be going out, so you guys have more variety in your covered hoppers. It'll be released, and you'll need to use the Train Sim World 2 livery manager by Raging Lightning, I think it is. Steven Jam, my buddy Steven Jam on YouTube has made a video on how to set up that, with narration by, I think, Tom. But anyways, we have more signals up ahead, and again, I'm not maybe going to show all this, but I'll show at least part of what's going on at Cumberland. So you've got these, and these have a weird name that I think Dovetail gave it. It's like Citus Exus Expressicus or whatever, something like that for what these humps are. I just call them Cumberland West hump. So we are, let's see, on track 2. So we'd be doing 1754-2 would be the signal that we would be adjusting. So we're going to put that in. 754-2, and we'll give ourselves route 0. Okay, I had the wrong signal, so then I need to do -1. Excuse me. Even I make mistakes. There we go. So now we have an approach, and that will line up. What's that buzzing noise? Oh, it's these. Which the dev build really... Yeah, see, this is the thing. When you start getting out of bounds and start doing stuff with the dev build, the actual, like, the debug camera, it starts messing things up with that. But there you go. We've lined we've lined through a signal. Also, this is Camo Guy 54321's horn mod, which is out now. I got permission from him to port it over and make it so it works for TSW2. So, okay, the DTG Live thing. West Coast Mainline, South London. I might have to get this because I don't drive a lot of British routes, but there's certain content that I do want. I wish I'd gotten some of the Virgin Train stuff before it went away. I think there's a way to still get it from the stuff that Dovetail pulled. I think there's a way to get it from, what's it called? I think from Just Trains. I also want to let people know, they won't really see this, but on the Train Sim, Dovetail's forums, some people have been reporting some issues with random spads that aren't their fault on East Coastway. I've looked into it and I've tracked down the issue, and I've had someone else who has submitted the bug report with my data and my findings so that Dovetail can better figure that out. It might still be a couple months out for that bug though, because it's a very tricky one that really shouldn't happen, but is an issue between an issue to do with the AI dispatcher and some timing issues with the data track that manages where AI trains are in service mode and in journey mode. So I'll be listing off kind of locations. So the first place we were at with all the switches down at the other end of receiving, that's known as Control Point in Mexico, and that's not a joke that I'm making. That's the bridge that goes, the little overpass that goes over the tracks there is Mexico Farm Road or something. I'm trying to remember exactly what it's called. But that road, as a result, CSX named it, after a geographical location, so they named it Control Point in Mexico. So we are on track 1. So the next signal we would have to deal with is 1769-1. Nice. So you see, we give ourselves an approach, and unfortunately, would this cause us to cross over? So yeah, we don't want us to cross over, so we give ourselves routing 1. Actually, I just screwed myself over, but well, whatever. Replay scenario. But you get the basic idea. So the one that I'll be showing next is going to be a bit funky. Because it really requires me to get the timing right. But I will show it off. I'm going to show you the other place that's considered very confusing by some people, and then I'll show you one particular fix that I have made, which will come with the signal mod. There's a signal at Yoder Siding that has had the incorrect ID since TSW's release on 3 years ago. It had the same ID as a signal next to it, meaning via the console you couldn't enable it. Dovetail's dispatcher system doesn't care about signal IDs, it just sees a path and lines through it. But for us, as players that would like to have our own true free roam system, this is, this causes a problem. So I did some hex editing and restored the proper ID that it really should have been during development. So in this case, we're going to explore, and what I need to be careful of, explore on foot. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to Rockwood. And I got to remember when X592 starts, because that's very important that I figure this out. Continue, and I think it was type in X. Cole Rockwood to Cumberland. Oh, they might have got rid of the older coal switching thing. Uh-oh. Okay, so we're gonna go back then. I think they got rid of X592 because it wasn't realistic. There we go, I know exactly what to do. So we're gonna go to Rockwood. I had to think about this because the timetable's changed a little bit. So instead of 9:30, let's spawn in around, so we're not causing problems, 12:25. Why does Restream keep screwing up? There we go. I'm taking a look at what this article says for TSW 2021. Comes with a the deluxe edition includes West Coast Mainline, South London, Euston, Birmingham. So, what do you get by default? A route that doesn't interest me at all, Norddeutschbahn, Clinchfield Railroad, and Fife Circle Line. Those are the 3 routes you get by default, and then the deluxe edition includes the West Coast Line, South London, Euston, Birmingham, which features Avanti for the first time in Train Simulator with their BR Class 390 Pendolino and Avanti West Coast livery. We have introduced an improved Steam Workshop which will provide easy access to thousands of community creations. Expand on your routes and locos by selecting user-created scenarios on Steam Workshop without ever leaving Train Simulator. I thought you were able to do that in original. That'll be interesting to see, but I don't know if it'll download properly. Oh, the Pendolino's got a unique Norddeutsch. I thought that was already in TS 2019 or TSW or TS 2020. The Norddeutschbahn. Clinchfield doesn't include the 36 is the Fife Circle Line, which I'm kind of interested in. And that will be arriving on Steam the 17th of September, folks. All right, so now we're at, yep, so they did remove that Jeep that was here. So that, good thing I don't have any save games from that because I'd corrupt them. So we're at Rockwood, and some of you are thinking, okay, that's all well and cool. What's the big deal? What's so important at Rockwood? Well, you'll notice there's, a Y here, and if you, I don't know if you noticed on the map, but there's a fair number of signals in kind of unique spots, including this passing siding that you normally could never get to. So far, the only person that has ever accessed that passing siding is me. Outside of Dovetail, there's not really much. That coal train's there, and he's going to be problematic. There we go. There's the train we can steal that got repurposed. So what we're going to do, and apparently, I don't know why this isn't working, rehook at X input. There we go. I have the console re-enabled. Okay. So we're going to set up a run speed. This is another thing you can do. You can adjust the run speed. And again, a lot of these unique console commands I'll be including in the signal guide README file. Okay, so there is N542 after recovering from the SPAD that players cannot do. Simply put, if anyone has, and I know some people will complain about this, saying Dovetail hasn't fixed yet in the update, N542A load coal in table mode does not work. With the way Dovetail spawns that has the train stop and recrew on top of... Wasn't there missing one of these? Yes. There we go. Achievements. Here we are. Thing I'd like to take control of so we have access to things that we wouldn't otherwise. Because walking around and showing you signals isn't as... No active serv... Yeah, this used to be X592. It's now just left here as... Do you want ditch lights on? Absolutely not. So you're going to be asking yourself, why are we stealing this train? Main reason, so we can do things that the dispatcher otherwise wouldn't let us do. One thing I'll showcase is that there's actually 3 signals here, and for anyone who's played the original Train Sim World and has done X592 short coal move to Rockwood, you understand what I mean. There's a thing that gives you warnings that says, stop here, you'll blow a red signal, and there's no signal in front of you. There's just a red marker appearing out of the ground. That's actually a signal. That is an actual signal, just like the real signal that's literally to the left of you on the next track. Also, I don't like... Normally I wouldn't spoil this. Well, it seems like... Wow, this actually looks like it's been revamped a lot. But the mastery for Sandpatch Grade is already in the game, just not activated. It affects Rockwood Mine. Kind of this grassy area over here will have more scenery to it. And that is the what they call Rockwood Mine Extension. And then there is a diorama. You probably noticed it when you first loaded up TSW2 and it went to the player creation menu and you saw a thing that showed a wooden shack and some railroad crossings. That's the Sandpatch Grade mastery diorama. But for some reason it's not set up properly. Okay, throw that switch. Unfortunately, we're on the same track as the other coal train, though. Can I cross over? Yeah. We just go around him. Again, got Camo Guy's horns enabled. Oh, will let me load coal now that I'm underneath it? Oh. Wait, is it actually working? Oh. So you can still do that service in all technicality. Great. Well, enough shenanigans. Let's go. SD40 does take a lot longer to load now, which is realistic. So I'll show this right now. Here is the offending signal that screws everyone up in regards to N542A load coal. Signal RM0, which the train spawns halfway on top of. You can give it a green. Dispatcher gives it a green because because when the AA train stops and the player gets on it, this is the first time the player is interacting with the train, so the player never touched the red signal originally, knocked down the signal and changed it from green to red. The AI did that. So that's why when you pass the signal like that, basically the rear of your train hits the red signal and the game goes, oh, that's the front of your train, and fails you. Simply put, if Dovetail had the train pull up about, oh, I don't know, 25 more car lengths, Veronica Roulet, welcome to the stream. This isn't going to be a super professional stream. This is really just about showcasing some stuff and doing some final testing before I work on writing up the README tonight, and then making a little showcase video and making sure that gets uploaded and released to the masses. Also, I don't have it shown here. Oh, there's the Electromotive Division sticker. So glad I added that. Seriously, thank you, NGC. I'm using NGC's Sandpatch Grade upgrade mod. It's in the TS Tracing community under TSW2 patches. And it adds a lot of decals, like the EMD decal, and it adds stuff to the Jeep 38-2, SD40-2, and AC4400. For Sandpatch Grade, and adds a lot of missing decals that are, you know, basically licensed companies and objects that Dovetail couldn't really get a license for. Mainly because the number of fees would have added up significantly. So you're thinking, well, why the hell? So people are probably asking in the chat, why the hell are you barreling towards a red signal that you're probably more than likely not going to clear? And here's my answer. It's Watson, my dear elementary. Basically, there's 3 signals here. And as you notice, the AI is gone and has actually taken advantage of one of them. In fact, he's right there. He's going to notch up super fast. Oh, I gotta pause the game. Whole game just froze. So the signal we're looking at actually has a number to it, which would be 2196 dash. Actually, I have to go look. I think it's 2196-2. No. It would be 2269-1. And now you'll notice that the signal in front of us has changed. See, and we have an equivalent here. So now I'm going to stop the train really quickly and back up, because I want to demonstrate this to you folks, that there's actually 3 signals here. So I'm going to put the train in emergency, because the brakes are, my God, in real life, the crew would get fired for having brakes like this. So you're going to say, well, the switch is lined here, and there's 2 switches lined here. So really, right here where I'm looking at, right about here, is actually a signal. You can't see it, but it is there. So we're going to call up a signal called 2269-3. And what I'll do, just for the sake of it, I'll throw this hand throw in front of us, just so you can see what I mean. So we're going to fly back a little bit to like where that signal would be, and we're going to enter 2269-2, which would be the second track. You'll notice the hand throw just adjusted, and the switch in front of us is lined against us. That's because that's an invisible signal. It's meant to protect, that was installed so that Dovetail can protect the player from blowing onto the Y, crashing into another train and screwing themselves over with the original service X592 short coal move to Rockwood. So there's an invisible signal there, and that's not the only one. No, that's not the only signal. Really, they're about right where these signs are actually. These signs actually are literally, this is where the signal is, right here, next to the sign. So this is also a signal. So then you would think, okay, well, we've got a hand throw. Well, the thing is, the dispatcher can actually throw hand throws. Not sure if you knew that, but it is a thing that they can do. So we're going to use -3. And you may notice that the hand throw just threw. So there's 3 signals here if you're a manipulator. There's one here, and these are all labeled in the signal guide, and these are useful for getting in and out. And they all have different routes. So let's say we wanted to take 2269-1 that we already blew, and I want to just double check that our points are lined again, which they are. Say we want to go the wrong way here, which a lot of us have wanted to do. I know I have. We have a routing of 0. Let's do a routing of 1. Now the routing of 1 is going to be the thing that gets a bit weird. So for example, if we had a routing of, what was it, 0? We'd be running the wrong way down the main line. A routing of 1, I'll just get close so you can hear the sounds, gives you access to go the correct way, which is what N542 just did. Now, that's really just 2 options. So now you're thinking, okay, so, well, that's routes 0 and 1. So what do you think route 2 would do? It'd do exactly what you would think. You would throw this, and now you have access to a part of the line you normally would not be able to drive along, because normally, in normal service mode, this signal would prevent you from stealing a train and driving down there without the signal exploit, without the SPAD exploit. I'll just kind of list off the IDs of some of these signals here if you want to tweak them before things go live. And again, use the universal Unreal Unlocker and use these console commands that are in here. It's ts2.signals.setRoute space, the ID of the signal, space, and then a route number. And so I'll just showcase another one here. A couple of these signals, this is 2267-1, which is it -1? This one should be -1. I want to just double check. Yes. Which is milepost 226.7, track 1. Over here is a key one that a lot of players are familiar with. This is 2266-1. You have 2266-2, which every player that has ever started a manifest from Rockwood to Cumberland has started right at. And then you have, let's double check what we have here. 2271-2, which is a crossover that is not used in the normal game. You will never see this crossover get launched, but I've called upon it. I've given myself Route 2, which lines me through that. So then Route 3, logically, would give me the opposite route, which would be here. And now I'm getting lined further down. And you're thinking, well, what's that red signal down there? And I'm glad you've asked. That signal down there is actually this portal, which in our case, we would be entering a portal called PR4. And you'll notice that we just now have an approach. You can't get a full clear out of a portal. The dispatcher can do it. I can't. I'll showcase, because some of you haven't seen this. Maybe 1 or 2 of you have. But most of you have tried flying down here to see stuff, and you've seen this passing sign, and you've kind of gone, well, why can't we access that? And normally you fly right about here, and the game kicks you out. I think technically it should kick you out right around here. And you're thinking, well, what the hell? I want to go see what's back there. Now, if you're a person not using the debug cab and you want to do this manually without a console enabler, take your camera right about here, using the 8 camera, and fly this way. Flying along here technically constitutes you as out of bounds. Train Sim World can't, the kill barrier doesn't extend this far, so you can fly this way around the kill barrier, and I call them kill barriers because it basically kills your enjoyment, and kicks you back, even though it's this kind of, and so now you'll see another signal you wouldn't normally be able to get to. This is 229.0, And again, all the AI, this one doesn't really get used, but this one is always used by AA trains that come out of the portal. And so now you can actually kind of see just how far back the world went for Train Sim World. And there's the signal we illuminate. So this is the other end of the world. This is the other portal, and you can tell exactly where the portal is because that's kind of where the track starts to change. And I don't like spoiling this for people, but this is really how far back the route goes. And again, the reason why the track does this weird thing where it clips through is a portal is a single piece of track that is about 4,300 meters long. And, it's several miles long, and that's why the scenery looks a little funky back here. Because you're not... Basically, Matt Pedalsden, the senior producer of Train Sim World, basically explained to me about a year and a half ago that the track guy for Sandpatch Grade extended the route a good 2 miles farther than he needed to extend it for just so that the players couldn't see the end of the game's world. So the one thing you're probably wondering is why I'm kind of ignoring the passing siding, and I'll be getting to that. And I have thoroughly tested this with an AI train and a player-controlled train. So what we're going to do is we're going to give ourselves access to that area. So we're going to reverse it and forward, get all the brakes off, and we're going to head down there. And then I'll showcase the fixed signal, which I can fly down there using the fly cam. It'll just take some time, because otherwise we have to load into the world to do it. And so I've aligned myself, I've aligned my signals. And if the last routing we did was Route 3, you'd be correct in thinking... I'll just turn off the HUD for this just for immersive purposes. The next routing would be 4. And now we have access to a passing siding. If I really wanted to, we could actually, you can also manually line 2 signals together. So let's say we wanted 22691 to PR4. I can do that. I can line both signals. Sometimes the signals don't have to be facing each other to do this. But again, this is the really antiquated way, and it takes tons and tons of guesswork, and it's not worth doing. So we're going to go back to routing 4, so we have access to this signal. And then I'll give, just for the sake of it, I'll demonstrate this signal with its own crossover. I'll illuminate in a moment. So that is 2271-2. Considering I'm sitting on top of it, let's give him a routing of 1. No, routing is 0, excuse me. Oh, I did -2, excuse me. So now he has access to the crossover. I'm going to give a 0 and he gets a red because he's now got access to... I'll say this right now, for anyone who's trying to throw a signal for line a signal for themselves right as your train is approaching, and say you're less than 100 yards away and you're doing 60 miles an hour, you won't make it. Switches take at least a minute, a second or two to throw. In that time, the signal will stay red until the switch is finished throwing. Just because you've thrown the switch, as long as that signal is technically red, if you hit it and it's not illuminated to another aspect, it will fail you. So now you can access this passing siding that is not used in any scenario or even service mode. You can access it now, which is great, and it adds for some unique screenshot opportunities, and I'll be showcasing the actual signals that the system will be using. In fact, we'll actually perform, just for fun, we'll perform a runaround move in a moment. So I'll just bring this train to a stop. Right, so now you go see the exploit I've performed over here. Yeah, there was an invisible wall, but now there's not. So now you can fly over here. Also, the road over here goes really far back. Even though I'm pretty sure Dovetail didn't expect for you to see this. So now we're going to take a look at what the passing siding is. And I am double checking what it actually is at this moment in time. I've got it. Rockwood siding. And you're probably thinking, well, why are you going this far back just to be able to get to a passing siding? The thing is, I have to fly around the kill barrier. I really have to see what I'm doing here. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to do the appropriate ID, which in this case would be 2288-3. Milepost 228.8, track 3. And that's going to give us a yellow so that we can go through the signal in the passing siding. I'll show this on map 9 that we're actually going through it. And I'll set some independent so that we can actually clear this. And you'll faintly hear us over there. We're going to actually perform a runaround move, and granted, it's difficult to see, but this is kind of the sacrifice you have to make, because I could risk going to my locomotive right now, but it's not worth the risk right now. So we're almost clear of the passing siding, so I'm going to come to a stop, and you can see us right there. And then I'm going to utilize a signal near me to throw that switch. In this case, let's say we wanted to do, for the sake of it, let's try... We want to try this carefully. Let's try the routing that we had before, which is routing 3. Now, in all technical aspects, I should be able to see the points throw if what I'm doing is correct. Looks like they're lined the appropriate way. So now we're going to put the locomotive in reverse. Front headlight dim, rear headlight full. Ditch lights on. Start heading back. That's a good screenshot. And now, for all technical purposes, we should not be going back up the passing siding. See, we've lined ourselves. What you really could have also done is for example, say you wanted to do this, you would have done routing 1. So you would have done this signal right here, which would have been 2290-1, and you would have given that a routing of either of 1, because if you did a routing of 0, it probably would have gone into the passing siding. This is how you get around the workarounds of not being able to set restrictings when a train is already in an occupied block. And I'll elaborate on that shortly when we go to a signal that is at a place that anyone who enjoys doing coal services on Sandpatch Grade is familiar with, which is a train called U876, which is a 4-part service mode that requires you going from Cumberland up to Salisbury Junction, going into Shaw Mine, loading coal, taking the train up to Yoder Siding, running around it, and then returning to Cumberland with a loaded coal train. Now, you didn't originally used to do a runaround, but because they put DPUs on each end of the train. Dovetail has since fixed that in Train Sim World 2 to be more realistic, so now that the engineers actually, you run up with just 2 locomotives and you do a runaround. So now we're going to be running around this area, and again, my chat is not up. I don't know why. Hello? I don't know why the thing's not scrolling. And again, we're coming in pretty fast. The one thing I will show, and I will not illuminate this dwarf signal when we couple up just yet, because I actually have to grab something to show you guys, because it is pretty important. Okay, the local brake should not take that long. I'm sorry. If a local brake was that bad in real life, that crew would get fired. So now we have to redo our routing, which would be, we'll use path 4. Nice reskin. Thank you, Hagen. This was my first locomotive reskin ever for Train Sim World. Like over 2 years ago. Also, I want to say this. I know I've been avoiding the elephant in the room for anyone who's part of my YouTube channel. About 2 weeks ago, I reached 800 subscribers, and after being on this channel since 2007, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed and supported me over the years. It really, I know people say this, but it really means a lot. I really wouldn't be doing this channel, I think, if I might still be doing this channel, but not in the way that I am now. Just seeing a subscriber count like that, it makes me want to actually continue making more videos. Again, it's one of those things where most people, I don't ask people to subscribe usually with my videos. Honestly, I sometimes warn people to avoid it because my upload schedule is so inconsistent. You could be waiting a very long time for videos, and I don't want to give people false hope that I'm constantly releasing new stuff. I think it's just not fair for me to do that. Alright. So now before we leave, I'm going to set up a unique lining for us. If I can remember it. Actually, it won't. It'll be shown off in the signal guide. Basically, you can use a vertical bar, and I'll try and show this off because I can't show it here properly because I don't have a vertical bar to like paste in, like off the bat. And doing so would require me to pull up a bunch of stuff, but I'll show you using a dash. A vertical bar is that vertical line you sometimes see in people's YouTube videos. So say you wanted to chain a bunch of signals together, you can actually do that. So say I wanted to go to the next signal, it would be farther down. I'm actually looking at my list so I can figure out what it is. Eastbound 2241-2. So say I want to cross over the proper way. I would do something like 2278-3 in this case, and I guess give ourselves like a routing of I think it'd be 3. TS2.signal, and then you would do another chain to it, so for example, then you would do another vertical line, then TS2.signals.setRoute, and then the next signal that would be farther down the line would be 2241 -2, route 0. And you would do this, and you can set up a chain of these commands. And it's best to type in something like notepad. Then you could set up a whole chain of commands like this and hit enter, and all of those signals will be thrown at the same time. And while you can do this stuff in service mode, I highly advise against it. It's one of those things of do it at your own risk, because the AA dispatcher will fight you in certain places. The AA dispatcher looks 2 or 3 signals ahead and will line an AI for that and will hold those signals until that train passes, meaning you won't have access to those signals. If you give them a command, they'll be put in the memory, and the dispatcher will honor those commands after the block is clear, but only after. But you can set up a big chain of these, and granted, I'm going to hit enter and nothing's going to happen because I don't have a vertical line. but that is basically what happens. So now we're going to actually give ourselves the proper command just to demonstrate how to get out of here. So there's 2278-3. So now you have an illuminated lunar, because that is a restricting on CSX. And now you actually have a signal that would get you out of Rockwood siding, and as far as I know, that, according to the timetable, that is what it is called. And you're just going to double check your routing ahead, which in this case, because it'd be route 0, it'd be by default. So we're going to use a routing of 1. This might be a little bit more problematic than I thought. Alright, so then in this case, you would do another routing. So we'd do like 2241-2. That's another workaround. That's why this antiquated system is still useful. Say that signal, because that signal technically only has one route to it, to my knowledge. Actually, I don't think it's doing that. I think it's actually lining the switches up here. Yeah, that's what it's doing. So if I did that signal again, and I went to a routing of 2, it would be lining this switch. Oh, I see what it's doing. So it goes to the hand throw, and then a routing of 1 goes to track 2, and then a routing of 2 goes to track 1. Okay. So then routing number, let's see, then routing number 4 would line us to the main line. I love hearing these switch noises. You'll hear them in Oakville too. Certain routes don't have them, unfortunately. Let's see, routing of 3. There you go. And so now we're lined to go the wrong way down the main line. So now you're going to think, okay, what's the next routing? Routing number 4. Well, there you go. Now we can go all the way down the main line like normal. And actually, I might as well just run the train down there, because now I can actually showcase also loading screen, which has kind of been fixed from Dovetail, thank you, but how long has the stream been going for? I'll just double check OBS. About an hour. Not a lot of views, but I understand why. Because I only have like 2 viewers. And I didn't exactly advertise it well, but that's kind of one of those things. You kind of have to really take what you can get. But anyways, now you can actually just, this is the thing. If you're going to do this free roam stuff, I would really highly recommend, and this is especially why I recommend this now, is now that Dovetail Games has produced an upgraded version of Cumberland Switchback that is the actual free roam scenario, you can now build a giant freight train there with all the power, and then if you wanted to, take it up the main line. I also want to let you guys know, and granted it takes a little bit more tweaking, there is a scenario that I'm making using the scenario planner that is a free roam for Cumberland Switchback that will allow you to use these signals. It will require the signal mod to really do what I want you to do. Really, if you wanted to, you could just take a single locomotive, drive it up to Hinman, and end the scenario in 35 minutes, but that's boring. No one wants to do that. So I've, enabled it so you can actually do more fun stuff and actually work a hump and trim job and deal with freight trains coming in and coal trains coming in and, putting away power and doing all this stuff. It's like clear cut and forming steel and Cumberland Switchback all in one neat package. And that scenario will be coming after the signal mod launches, which hopefully will be this week. I've been putting it off for the last 2 months because I really just haven't wanted to keep riding the guide, but now I think I have the confidence the motivation to do so. finding time to do it during the day has been the issue. I can do it during the evening, but I don't feel motivated. So doing it during the day, finally having a day free from work, has allowed me the ability to do this. And I might even start writing some of it after this, provided I don't go outside and go for a walk or do some things. I might go hiking today. I'm gonna hike up the mountain near me. Oh, can I fly in? Oh, that's a relay cabin, but I have to... Oh, I can't do it. Can't do it, son. Can't do it. Just gotta put the achievement in. Now, you might be wondering why I'm spending all this time driving this way. It has to do with this siding, which is very important. More important than you would think. That has the incorrect ID. And there's the supposed caboose that Dovetail set up for U-876. And we're chasing a freight train, I assume, to be based on his size. Oh, that's right, that's N542, who isn't going that fast. See if there's anything else active on the main line, because we are actually in service mode. Well, the line seems to be kind of clear at this point. Well, there's one signal past the danger, which I did pass the danger because I didn't care. And also the SPAD glitch still does work. So now I'm going to walk us over to an area that's pretty important. This is going to show, really probably going to be towards the end of this stream. This probably isn't going to be a long stream. And I'll kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about. Let's see. Explore on foot. Autumn mist. Autumn mist is really nice. Winter fog. Yeah, winter cloud low. Winter fog. Maybe a bit of clouds. Definite wetness. Massive precipitation. Cloud level. Good. Terrible visibility. This is exactly what I wanted. And we're going to go to, not Sandpit, that's Myersdale. Salisbury Loop. Garrett. What, they got rid of the spot for Yoder? Oh, come on. Come on, fam. Don't do that to me. Rail fan shots. I need to start working on that. Wonder if it'll allow me to upload shots that have mods in them. I don't know their policy on that. I should probably look into that. Alright, so we're over here and you're thinking, Digitrax or Nitro, you idiot, what are we doing here? Why are we here? Just to suffer? Every night I can feel my lunchbox and it hurts. Big Boss 2019. So now you're wondering, you're like, oh, I recognize this is called Garrett. Well, this part is called Garrett. The rest of it is called Yoder. Garrett, Pennsylvania, and Yoder, Pennsylvania are like right next to each other. I don't know why. Or like Maryland, excuse me. So there's 3 signals here. This one works. This one works. This one did not work. I'll explain why. This signal has this ID of 2194-2, also known as milepost 219.4, track number 2. This one is labeled 2194-3, which makes sense. This one is also labeled 2194-3, which is wrong. This one, if you call up that signal, normally would activate this one. It should. It should activate this one. So basically you had a duplicate signal ID. The dispatcher doesn't care and will illuminate any signal you set a path to. What is the command to set a route between 2 signals? Blake Belladonna, I'm glad you asked. I'll be happy to show you that right now. So if you want to set an idea, if you want to go from one signal to another signal in the more antiquated way that I do, you do something like this. You would use, it would be TS2 dots, it would be TS2 dot signals dot in capital S set route, as I've shown, and then you would type in the signal ID. So for example, let's say we wanted to do the signal that was right near us. And we want to go north. So we would do, and I'll look at my listing here just to demonstrate, because I need a westbound signal. Next signal nearest would be 222.1. So let's say we wanted, or 222.2. So let's say we want to align this signal right in the middle, and I have to alt-tab like a million times to get my cursor back. Okay. So like say we wanted to line this one the antiquated way. We would do, and I'll pull up the console in the easier to read way so you can actually see what's going on. We'll do 2194-2, and then we would align a signal that would say the next signal that would be north of us or west of us would be 22222-2, like this, and I would hit enter. And then that would technically throw that signal. It's not happening in this case, but that's probably because we have traffic inbound. Now the other antiquated would be for me to hit 0 with this, and for it to give us a signal, but it's not going to do that in this case. Because another train occupied coming the other way that is, where is he? He's right there. He's already got a lining, so we can't do that. So I'll demonstrate properly right after we do this next signal lining. So let's say right here we have, I'll demonstrate all these signals in the proper order that they should be working. So we've got 2194-1, route 0. That's the signal off to our right. That one is always been working, but it used to be an ID of -3, which is wrong. Then we have -2, which claims to not be working, but I know why it's not working. There's a train in the block. We have to wait for him to clear. The dispatcher has control of that signal right now. Then the one that has not been working and hasn't been used in any service until Train Sim World 2's release, which is now where it is now used by U876-C, run around a Yoder, or as it's misspelled in game, Yoda, the Jedi. In this case, we'd be doing -3. And granted, this one actually also won't light up due to timing. Simply put, I goofed and picked the wrong time. Really, if I had chosen, let's say, noon, and we'll go back to that in just a moment. Let's go start at something like what time would he be at? If that's at 12:30, we'll start at 12:45. Because I know that he'll be clear by that point. So we'll go explore. Explore on foot. Why'd you get rid of my presets? Trying to make things look terrible. Trying to make it look like we have Connecticut weather. There we go. 12:45, just to be safe, because we started at 12:30. That's enough time for the train to get down there. Are any of my friends in their Discord chat? Absolutely not. That's concerning. So Blake Belladonna, hopefully that answers your question. Again, the signal command, this whole signal guide, the pack file to fix the signal at Yoder, or Garrett, and the actual README and the guide. And what are you doing here? Actually, why are you here? Because you don't have a command yet, that's why. So now we'll just watch him pass, because he's actually at the signal he needs to be at, which is right here. And as much as I would love to line them into the siding, I don't have the power to do that. But it also demonstrates to you just how fast the AI trains pick up speed, because he'll get up to 60 way fast. Granted, actually it looks like he's kind of picking up speed normally now. Normally he'd already be at 60 miles an hour in Train Sim World. And he's knocked down that signal, and he's going to come on through. And we'll just wait for him to pass, and I'll demonstrate the signals. Anything coming out of a portal? No. Is anything in receiving? Not yet. So, are there any yard jobs currently active? Yeah, there's one. He's sorting. Looks like he might be a helper service. There's a train ready to go right there. We'll just have him. Let's take a neat money shot of him passing. And once he's basically clear, we'll have access. One viewer on Twitch, I'm only seeing Blake Belladonna has followed me, NGC, and Hagen. And Sexy Booby. Thank you guys for the follows. A lot. Thank you. Means a lot. It really does. So now that we're out of the clutches of the dispatch, we'll line these correctly. So there goes track 1. Here goes track 2, which now has a signal, as you can see. And he's got a flashing yellow. And some of these signal heads are apparently a bit wrong. I had a friend that's a CSX person that knows, or not an engineer, but knows the CSX signals, and this is not 100% correct. And then you would have -3, which is the signal that has never worked, and now it is controllable by you, the player, which allows you to do a proper runaround. So I want to demonstrate this to you real quick if you're trying to do a runaround at Yoder. This is really important. Say you're here, and you have freight cars parked right here, and you've run your engine all the way around, and you're here, and you're trying to get a signal in. You're desperately trying, and you're trying to line the signal, and you're trying to get a route, and the switch will throw. And say the switch will throw, and it'll get you in here, but it won't let you go. It'll give you a red signal, and you keep hitting tab, and it's not letting you in. It won't give you a restricted warning. It won't let you. So what you need to do is you have to kind of trick the system. And in real life, you wouldn't have this issue because you would be a dispatcher, or you'd have a dispatcher watching over you that had a system that would actually work. So say I've got this signal right here. Now this signal is known as 2196-2. So say you're sitting here and it's a red signal like it is now. You would have 2196-2. What you would do is you would take your train and you would give it a routing of, in this case I think it would be 0. Oh, that's 0, routing of 0. Give me a routing of 1. There you go, routing of 1. So then you'd start, that would give you a clear. And I'll just demonstrate that over here. You'd have a clear. Well, not really, because the coal train is still in the darn block. Because he's taking his sweet time, although it will illuminate. Not just yet. Well, actually, it shouldn't illuminate right where he is. It should illuminate only when his last car clears this signal. Because this is a control point, so that's a bit of a worrying thing, but I get kind of why Dovetail's doing that. So you'd have a clear. You would slowly roll your train and your power, if you're doing a runaround, up to right about here, and you'd stop. At that point, you would actually trick yourself in the game. And then you would throw the switch, and now you can run in and couple up to your freight cars. You do the exact same thing on the other end of Yoder. I'm going to sprint down here. And granted, I understand I've set the visibility to low. That's deliberately so that I can highlight the signals better while everything else is white, because the signal heads are black. That way they don't blend in with like trees and shadows and shapes and all that stuff. You don't want to mess with all that. And you would do the same thing here. And you have all three of these signals do work, and I'll just show them off. You have 2183-1, -2, and -3. And I'll showcase these. And again, 2 of them won't work for obvious reasons. There's -2. Yeah, see, 2183-3 is lined, but because the signals are not set up properly. And then there's one more I'll show. And the reason I show this one is because it looks confusing to anyone that is not very well versed in CSX signals. And I want to show this because it is something that for most of us won't be confusing. We've played this service before. But for those of us who haven't, it is deeply confusing. And I'm talking about the signal at Salisbury Junction. Because the way in which it shows a restricting is wrong. So you'll see it as a clear right here. And here's the other thing. There are certain signals across Sandpatch Grade. The ID is literally right in front of you. You don't have to look at them off my guide. Like right here, these two are literally listed as they are in the game. So you'd have 2163-1, and then this one would be obviously 2163-2. Why it doesn't have a reading, I don't know. And these would have a board. And there's certain ones, specifically signals around near, like, between Hinman and Salisbury. Some of them have labeled boards like this. Not all of them. Some of them do. This will allow you to manipulate some of the more unique control points, such as, you know, this stubs, this rip track siding at Sandpatch, as well as the unique crossover at Sandpatch. That's the double crossover that's kind of stretched out. And it will also let you manipulate the unique crossover at, if I can find it right here, because it is a ways down the line, at Manila. There's like, oh no, not there. I don't remember where Manila is. I think I'm getting too close to Hinman. Yeah. I gotta remember where Manila is. Manila's right after Sandpatch. And then you have this other crossover here, Manila, that's kind of stretched out. You can access that too. So we'll just sit here and wait for this guy to blow through so I can demonstrate the kind of funkiness with this signal. So you'd think, okay, well, if you try to line this, it's gonna, you know, tell you, you know, you're an idiot. It's gonna go, you know, 2163-2, routing 0. So it's gonna give us a red, and obviously it should. The train is still in the block in front of us. You know, that's a no-brainer. But say you wanted to go down Shaw Mine. I'd give a routing of 1, obviously. And you'd hear the switch throw. And normally you would think, well, I'll get a white restricting. And you would normally be right. However, this signal doesn't really have that. And again, this is one of those things where it's definitely the thing where you should be concerned, but this particular kind of signal doesn't provide that aspect. This should technically be a 4-head, or a signal set up to, because you wouldn't really, actually no, you would have the yellow too. But basically, this technically, despite the fact that it shows red for you as a player, would actually demonstrate a green. And the reason I'm saying that, I'm actually going to steal this locomotive really quick just to showcase what I mean, which will break service mode, but I'm going to steal it for the purposes of discussion. Oh, I fixed a new marker. Yay! Well, this thing has like some weathering to it now. Thanks, Dovetail. No active service. Well, that's great. So you're going to use the signal Salisbury, which I know it has 4 lights on it. Only 2 of them actually are needed, if you can believe that. And that is Salisbury Junction exit signal. So that's 2190-3, which is weird because it's not 219 at all. 219 is way farther up. I don't know why Dogtail gave it that particular ID because it's absolutely wrong. Let's say we want to do 219 2190-3 routing 0. There, now you got a lunar. And by the power invested in me and John Cena. I'll just show this off. See, it gives you green. Oh, I know why it's complaining. Because I didn't set it to lead or deed. Again, what I'm doing is stuff that really is shenanigans. Most players wouldn't do this, but if you're someone that really likes to explore and really kind of mix things up and kind of do things the way you could in Microsoft Train Simulator's Explore Route Mode or Trains 2006's system, this is kind of the thing for you. Past signal at danger, which is weird because technically I ran under it. But in reality, what would happen at that signal, and I'm going to teleport to it really quick before I end this stream. Simply put, the signal is going to show red no matter if you're lined into it or not. I shouldn't have spatted from what I just did. Now, there's literally no reason why it did that, because there wasn't a signal there, unless there's some strange invisible one that Dovetail's put in now that I don't know about, which I will have to look into now, because there shouldn't be another signal there. I might have to actually put something in there. Let's see. Explore on foot. Stop defaulting to spring clear. Now we have to start late in the day. Very late in the day. Almost night. Salisbury Junction, Shaw Mines. We'll go to Salisbury. There we go. There's one viewer on Twitch. I can only imagine the other one is on YouTube. Currently trying to see how much of WCML is working on Bakerloo and how much I can break it. Also need to change my UN. I keep forgetting it. Here's what I've checked WCML. Here's the unfortunate thing. Technically, you are literally one switch away from being able to get a train from Weaseldale, whatever the station is that's like near WCML that's right across from the giant yard. There's a bunch of signals that you can use using the scenario planner that allow you to backtrack using the debug camera. And technically you're one switch away, which I can't access, from being able to get a train from Bakerloo onto WCML, especially during off-the-rails mode. Unfortunately, wait, why is the unit still here? Oh, because it never technically leaves. Well, let's give myself a signal then. Alright, let's try and line ourselves up so I can get an actual clearance path. 2190-3 and then 2182-2. It should be a correct signal. What about 2194-2? Is there a train nearby? Doesn't look like it. I don't see one anywhere nearby. trying to give the signal aligning at all. That's so strange. That should have worked. Is there some new signal protecting that I'm not seeing? Oh yeah, the other ID, which technically shouldn't be involved in all this mess, but it is. I know what it's doing. Oh, that's stupid. Because actually where the points are, you actually have to line this signal to get out of here too, which would be 2162-2. There we go. So now if we run back and steal you. Again, folks, don't steal trains in real life. It's illegal. It's not cool. Smokey the Bear says stop stealing trains. Only you can stop your railfan friends from stealing trains. It's not cool. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. NGC added some additional stuff like the Motorola logo and stuff to the radio, so they actually look like they have character and look like you're on an actual channel instead of being powered down. There's a lot of different little logos, like EMD being on this gauge here, the EMD logo here. Here's a whole change log. Okay. So you'll notice on the map that it claims it's a green, although it's technically a lunar. That's just because Dovetail doesn't have an aspect here in the corner in the HUD. They only have a yellow, red, and green for HUD on the HUD. There is no lunar. That's just unfortunately the way the cookie crumbles. So now if I were to dump the air, yeah, I had forgotten to mention that you technically need two signals to get out of here. You would need 219-3, 2190-3, and then you would also need 2162-2. You need both those signals to get out of here. So now I'm going to show you the weird discrepancy with how lunars work here. So to get us on the right path, that puts us at 0. That gives us an approach. Fair is fair. Then we're going to hit 1, and it's going to give you a red, but it's going to claim that it's a green. And I just want to show this to you. As much as you think that you have failed and you're going to SPAD, as long as it shows green here on the map, that is what matters. If the HUD is telling you you have a green, you have a green, regardless of what the game is telling you otherwise. And I'll also demonstrate. It's not really worth trying to teleport. Who are you? Do you have helpers? You do. Oh, I think why don't we sprint on the main line to Sandpatch and go do a little bit of exploration. Let's go give them a greeting. So we'll give ourselves the appropriate lining. There's a yellow. Turn the cab light off. Turn the headlights bright. Turn the ditch lights on. Go explore for a moment. And then I'll probably end the stream, because I think I've covered everything that needs to be covered. Like, again, I shouldn't technically be able to take this train, but I am now. And 2.5 miles, I've already passed 2163. The next one will be 2136-2. You'll notice we just got a clearance, because we have to head to Control Point Glade City, which is where? Right there. And then there's one at Sandpatch, and we'll pull ourselves into this siding. I'll show you how unique that is. Plus we can watch this AI train eventually try to get to us. Oh, actually, he'll stop and drop off the helpers here, so this will be even cooler to look at. So right there is a signal, and we're going to line ourselves. If we're coming into Sand Patch, we would need eastbound track 21111-2. And that will give us a route unless we've lined it the correct way. We have given ourselves the correct pathing, so... I think I've given us the correct pathing now. Don't mind me, just screaming through Myersdale. Actually, can I get off? No, they fixed that. Well, I think the only one that wasn't fixed on was Oakville. Should make a mod for the bell, because I don't know if that bell is a real EMD bell, but I don't know if it's accurate for this unit. Again, seriously, for people who like it, listen to the AC4400 sound mod by Nexo that I've ported over with his permission. Go check that out for TSW2. It makes the AC4400 sound 1,000 times better than what it does now. And also give a shout out to Camo Guy 54321, who's also in the Rolling Line community. For this horn mod, he let me port it over and make it so it would work in here. And seriously, go use that. It is a lot of fun. It makes the engines, it gives each of the 3 CSX engines so much more character. NGC has a UP horn mod, which hasn't been ported over yet, but hopefully it will be. And seriously, go check out his sand patch cap and decals enhancement mod for the CSX units for TSW2. It's not done for TSW1. Maybe he'll port it over for that too. But it is super cool. I love it. And it's a lot of fun. So here we go at Glade City with a unique set of aspects. I think it's medium clear? Or it's limited clear. No, I think it's medium clear. I think it's green over yellow for limited clear. Yeah, because it's a 35. Actually, if I'm running at night, I need to do the appropriate thing. Make sure those are on. There, now we're a proper locomotive service. I'll take some screenshots of this. Because even if they win in the screenshot contest, you know, technically I'm not using mods, I'm just taking an engine. And the SPAT exploit's not actually like a mod, it's just part of the game. Also, I can show off, if I can remember it, is it ts2.dbg.wind strength? I think it's set wind strength, excuse me. I think that is. Because let's try 0. Let's try the windmill. What's 10 do? There we go. Oh, did they oh, is it capped now? No! Oh, I thought there was a way to... I think there's a way to adjust weather. You can set a bunch of different parameters for weather, and you can change it on the fly, not just in the menu. It's really cool. Doesn't affect the gameplay in any way, except for now it might actually have more of an effect, especially with adhesion, so be careful. Let's try dump console commands. I feel like this should work. Command not recognized. Yep. That's not, so I can't dump any unless they leak another dev build. So we're coming into sand patch. I have to put both brakes on because apparently I'm seeing a lot of weird graphical glitches, and I'm wondering if it's my GPU. Also, I need to slow down because I want to figure out which path I'm lined for. I am lined for the correct one, so Route 01 and the left. So let's pull up and stop at this signal. Put ourselves in reverse. Headlight dim. So we want to make it into this siding. But we're going to use the actual ID for it. Yeah, my graphics card's doing something weird. I think it's taxing. Actually, I think it's just something with this area. Graphically, everything else seems to be A-okay. So how are we going to do that? What's the signal here at Sand Patch? It has a siding. We're going to use -3. Oh, and there you go. He's passing. Oh, this is going to be a cool shot. And he's got helpers on his auto rack too. Actually, why does he have helpers on an auto rack service? Nice. Hey.
No, get the wheelbarrow and move a couple things for me.
Sure thing.
Make sure you have your button.
I apologize, I have a little something to do outside to help with some yard work, and then we can demonstrate what's going on with the stream. So if you guys want to put on a waiting of about 5 minutes, that's the best I can do, I will return. extra stream. Fuck. Oh. Stream's back. Not sure for how much longer, but back from doing work. Still got people viewing. Shit. It said he had a helper. Why the fuck would he have a helper? He's an auto rack. Also, while it's happening, let me get my signal set up, which is going to be, I think, actually already set up. Right here. And the switch is already thrown because there's no light for it though, so we're going to back up. Yeah, he goes getting caught my eye. Yeah, it's a joke. Did the AI leave yet? What the hell is he doing? Okay, that works. Oh, there he goes. I think he crosses over at Manila. It doesn't even look like the dispatcher gave him a frickin' signal yet. See if I can get that signal to light up. No, because he's crossing over right there. What? That shouldn't happen. freight cars. Oh, I'm messing with that signal. That's not the one I want. Oh, it's supposed to do 21112.3. There we go. That's the signal it's illuminating. That's under the siding. That's under the main line. Should let me through the tunnel. Unless Dovetail messed that up. Oh no, they didn't. They can still walk through the tunnels. So it's just Bakerloo they put invisible walls on. Good. And they actually feel genuinely dark, so. Three viewers. Not really sure what else to show off with this. We've got Manila. One thing I might try to do, and I don't know if we'll release it with this mod, is the lenses on these signals used to be like not a straight color like they are right here. They actually used to have like a shimmer, so you could actually see like the glass lens that you can see like farther up. And I'm going to try and restore that, because that was in TSW1. I want to fix that, because the lens you see on the top looks really nice, and having that just change to a different color, but keeping all that glass lens is nice. Having this straight on color that you see on the actual illuminated signal looks ugly, and I want to fix that. I'm not sure why they did that. Could have just been an honest mistake. Trying to think of any other unique places to show off where there's any signal discrepancies. So I think I've shown off the only invisible signals. Not sure what you are. You have a couple of small freight cars and a lot of big ones. Are you a local? Wish I knew what you were. You don't look like any train that I've ever seen. Oh, are there any things I can fix here? That mats. Oh no, because this one was already repaired. Why is the trash so blue though? So there's 2 viewers on Twitch. How many there are according to Restream? 2. So it's just the people on Twitch. The people on YouTube got bored. Don't blame them. I had to go out for like 45 minutes and help with yard work. Trying to get to the spot where I can show you guys the signals that were left over in the sand patch beta. Yeah, these were in the beta, but they didn't have a listing, so they would just read ID instead of 2066-2 and 2066-1. By what? Oh, I thought the one was hanging off of the actual signal sign, but it's not. Is it on this one? It looks almost like it's physically colliding, but I don't think it is. Well, they did make it so that the trailing headlight is on. They did make that work. He doesn't have his full headlights on, or his ditch light, so I guess the AI can't control that for some strange reason. Just run farther down. I gotta see what this other service is, because it doesn't look like anything I've seen before. It's way too short to be a manifest. The fact that it's got very short cars and then very long cars indicates to me strangeness. It's like the signals have like this really warm color until you get like right up to them, and then they like get all weird. Also, I used to not normally be able to get 30 FPS just even while running, and now I can. You'll notice it's constantly jumping, but also I'm running a lot faster than I should be, even though I'm on an SSD. Let's go find that obscure train. Where is he in relation to me? Oh, he's coming up. Right near here is where the sand patch... I think past this rock formation, right about here is where the sand patch demo world ended. I might do a video exploring that. It's also where Epic Rain Shot, the timetable, was used. 2019-2 and 2019-1. And then 2020, and he's got a green signal. Excuse me, what? That target's wrong. That target should be... Oh, I should repaint these. I should reskin these so that where it's green where it's red and it's red where it's green, because those are mapped wrong. If you're facing a switch and it shows you a red, that would mean it's lined into the siding, not for the main. I should fix that, because that's very wrong. I think it does it in all yards too. It's been like that since forever, but I don't know if anyone has ever escalated it enough for Dovetail to really notice. Also, there's no way to restore the sounds for these. I checked, the files are gone. What are you pulling? Why do you have your trailing headlights on? Beth gone, what the hell kind of manifest is this? That's a pretty short manifest, man. Another long train coming up, but I think he was a recruit from earlier. Yard switching. Oh, he's switching out in and out cars, and you are, I guess, switching a cut or building a outbound train into departure. Did anything pull into receiving? There's a cut there. It looks like he's breaking it down. Yeah, 2 trains pulled in. Smart. That's good. I assume that power gets pulled off and does some runarounds later. I think... Where am I now? Glencoe? That might be all for this stream, just because I can't think of... anything else right now, and I might work on some reskin projects or the signal guide or something like that. I think that's going to be it for now. Stick around for later this week on trainsimcommunity.com and look for the Sandpatch Signal mod and the release trailer for that and the video explaining more about it should go up on Steven Jam's channel soon. So stay tuned, and I will see you guys later.